guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mind Muscle Connection podcast. Today's a solo episode, and I have a topic I want to dive into. But first, before I go into that, if you haven't yet, make sure you download my free body recomp checklist. So in that checklist, I go over 10 things that you need to do for a body recomp. And again, we go beyond just calories and macros and training, even though that is in there. I talk about two types of body recomp, what body recomp is, what it isn't, and what you can expect and why it's important to also focus on your body composition over just say your scale weight. So if you're interested in that, the link to that is in the show notes. So with that out of the way, let's dive into today's topic. So what I want to talk about, so when I initially made this kind of post, it was around you're not eating enough or is something else draining your system. And I want to change that, flip it to, are you not eating enough? And then also, are you eating too much? Are these the potential issues here? Again, the topic I want to dive into today is probably going to show up a little bit more with you aren't eating enough. That's the common thing that people will say if you have, say, a lack of body comp change, low energy, poor recovery, stalled progress. The go-to answer to that is usually just, hey, you need to eat more, right? You need to increase your calories. Your calories are too low, right? Somebody says what they're eating. Oh, you're just eating too low. You need to eat more calories. And then on the flip side, again, take the same thing. You have lack of body comp change, low energy, poor recovery, stalled progress. It's, hey, you need to eat less. So again, both of these just take a very calorie driven approach to it there. And again, I'm still a huge believer of calories in, calories out, but I feel like people overemphasize calories in, calories out, and I'm willing to talk to you about why. But again, let's go back to the go-to answer for this is, hey, just eat more. Let's take it mostly from that standpoint for today's episode, but I'll probably go back and forth between both of these. And again, sometimes that helps, but a lot of times it doesn't. It's, oh, you're just not eating enough food. You need to eat more. That's why, right? You're just in this low calorie state and you need to eat more. But that advice may fall flat because lack of energy isn't always only about calories, right? Or lack of body comp change is not only about calories. The system-wide issue. So we need to think bigger here with this versus just calories, because again, that's typically where if somebody's not seeing the body comp change they want, or again, they have low energy, whatever it is, oh, hey, you need to eat more, or hey, you need to eat less, whatever it is. But we need to think about other things at play. So again, your body's energy demands don't just come from training alone. This is a big kind of thing that people think is that, oh, hey, the only amount of calories that you burn throughout the day is through exercise. And again, that's simply not true. Our body needs energy for many other things, right? The energy demands are going to come from stress, mental plus physical. You have mental stress, like that is going to require energy. You have physical stress that is going to obviously require energy, exercising, things like that. Another energy demand on the body is going to be poor sleep. Your body has to work around that. High life load. Again, you just have a lot going on. Like those are energy demands. Again, your dieting history, that's going to impact your energy demands, what that looks like, what you've done to your body in the past. Unrecovered, so like high training volume, again, that's going to be a large energy demand. Gut issues and inflammation, right? So again, these are going to be things that are going to impact your metabolic health. These are going to impact your energy demands, and then micronutrient deficiency. So we also need to look at that, right? Your overall diet quality, what you're eating, but then also things like gut issues and inflammation can impact micronutrient deficiencies. Too high stress load, too much stress can impact gut issues, which can impact micronutrient deficiencies. A lot of stress can impact micronutrient deficiencies. So there's a lot of overlap between these. And again, this is where if we just look at calories, we're going to run into some potential issues there. So again, even if you're eating enough on paper, or again, you could be in a surplus, you could be eating enough, or you can be in a deficit, you can still feel like you're running on empty. Why? Because your recovery system is overloaded and your body can't use what it's not absorbing, right? So again, poor digestion and nutrient gaps can mimic underfueling. So this is where, again, people will blame, oh, you're not eating enough calories. Oh, you're eating too many calories. Or again, you are eating plenty of calories on paper, but you also feel like you're under eating. And again, this simply comes down to like nutrient gaps, so lack of micronutrients in your diet, but then also poor digestion, which again, it impacts more people than they think. And both of these get you to where you're consuming X amount of calories, but you're not absorbing all the vitamins and minerals you need to actually feel and perform your best. And so that, again, leads to people being like, you're not making the change in your body composition. Again, you either need to eat less at that point, or again, if somebody's eating quote unquote lower calories, like, hey, you need to increase your calories are too low. But again, we're overlooking these other aspects that can impact our body's ability to handle the calories that we give it. And also, let's take this into consideration. We're not that great at tracking intake or output either, okay? So food logs are off. We know that calories can be off by up to 1,000 plus calories. potentially. So that's not an exact science. So just because somebody says they're eating 1,200 calories does not mean they're actually eating 1,200 calories. It could be upwards of 2,200 calories. It could be 1,700, but enough to where you think you should be making more progress than you are from a scale weight perspective, but you may be off from that perspective. And then wearables miscalculate too. People do really base if it says they burn 567 calories, they truly believe that's how many calories they burn. And again, we know that's not going to be 100% accurate. And your needs do change every single day. This probably isn't a very static thing where it's like, hey, 1,200 calories, you eat 1,201 calories, you're in a surplus. Hey, you eat 1,199 calories, you're in a deficit. Again, it's not going to be that static from day to day either. And so again, fuel is just one piece of the total stress puzzle, right? So again, things that are going to impact your just the overall load on your body. Again, we're looking at things like training exercise, like what you're doing for that training, how intense it is, your life and environmental. These are going to be things that can be impacted. Your mental health, nutrition, again, your energy intake, but then also like alcohol, your macros, sleep. Again, do you have some sort of insomnia? Are you not getting good sleep? Again, this is all going to impact how your body handles the fuel that you give it. Again, thyroid problems, which again, typically is going to come from usually lifestyle type things. But again, if that's not on track, that's going to impact your body composition potentially, right? And again, your kind of perceived stress of everything is also going to impact things as well too. And so this is why a calories only approach falls short, right? If you're struggling with lack of body comp change, flat workouts, constant fatigue, nagging symptoms, we need to zoom out, okay? Because again, calories do matter, but so does your training structure. So how you're training, if you're eating a certain amount of calories and you're trying to also do a ton of training, that's going to impact how you feel. And you're not going to get as much out of that training. And you may find that because you are eating low calorie or you're eating 1,200 calories and you're doing all this training, that combination there, plus maybe you have some sort of stress load, higher stress elsewhere, you have other things going on, that's going to impact how your body utilizes that 1,200 calories and how you feel at 1,200 calories. So again, it could be a thing where it's like, hey, you could potentially eat 1,200 calories, get into a deficit, but we probably need to moderate your training structure. You're not going to be able to just train and do a ton of training volume. We might have to adjust that. We may need to work on stress management things. We may need to improve your sleep quality. We may need to improve your nutrient status by getting more whole foods in, micronutrient dense type food. And that person, now that 1,200 calories that you're getting is going to be completely different than somebody else who has that 1,200 calories with all this extra stress load on the body. Same thing with maintenance calories. All these things are going to impact how your body's going to utilize the fuel you give it. And it's not just the calories itself. So again, a lot of times, this is why with my coaching approach now, I'm looking at all these things outside of just calories, because again, that's all going to impact what you can do with that, right? And again, this comes back to the whole, hey, you need to be in a surplus to build muscle. While again, I generally agree that you need to make sure you eat enough food, but to build muscle, that's going to put your body in the best position to build muscle. But from there, you need to make sure your training's in a good spot. You need to make sure you're not doing too much overall. You still need to moderate your fatigue, right? Fatigue management. That doesn't take into account your stress load. Where is your mental health at? Your sleep quality, your gut health, nutrient status, like that. Again, if you get all those things dialed in, you're in a small surplus and you really push your training, like you're going to build muscle. But if you're somebody who's in a small surplus and you're not doing these things and these things are off, again, now that's going to impact your body's ability to add muscle and minimize fat gain. And this is why, again, I'm a huge fan of, I think it's more important for people to get to fuel enough, work on these things, see what happens. And then we can start to have the conversation around, okay, now can we get you to the point to where you decrease calories and now you're going to see more effective and efficient body comp change, more effective and efficient fat loss. You're going to feel like you're cruising downhill versus feeling like you have to go uphill for every last pound loss. And then again, same thing with a surplus. Like I feel like a lot of people don't even need to think about getting into a surplus until they get these things dialed in there. So again, your system doesn't really care where the stress comes from. It just is only concerned about how much it can handle. And again, the state that we're in when we have these, whatever energy balance we're in, is going to really determine if we're going to lose body fat and build muscle. And again, I may be beating a dead horse here with this, but this is why, again, a lot of people are saying, oh, you need to add in more calories. That person, if you just added more, let's say they're eating quote unquote 1,200 calories. Again, we talked about how it's probably higher than that, but let's say that now we're like, hey, now you need to eat more food. One, if they just add in more food, what kind of nutrition are they getting in? What does their sleep look like? What's their gut health like? Because if they've been chronically under eating and now you just throw a bunch of food on, their body might not be in a good spot to handle all that food. And so now you're just digging them into a deeper hole here by just saying, hey, you need to eat more calories. So again, it's just super important to dive into this more. And time again, when I talk with people, these things are just often overlooked. It's usually, oh yeah, I'm good with that. Hey, I'm good there. There's got to be something wrong with my calories, or there's got to be something wrong with me. But really, any sort of dysfunction, any sort of like lack of body comp change, it really can come down to, hey, somewhere along the line, we need to improve our lifestyle habits and what we're doing to our body. Because again, our body is an adaptation machine and it will adapt to what you do to it. But a lot of people are sending these wrong adaptations, and or they're getting this advice of, oh, hey, you're just eating too little calories. You need to consume more. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people that like, I just need to eat more because so-and-so said it. They said I need to eat more, when it's, you don't need to eat more. You need to get these things dialed in and you need to improve your diet quality. And I guarantee you things will change for you and things will be more effective and efficient versus now throwing in more food on top of all these issues. So again, this is exactly what I work on with clients, right? And this is why I have the five pillar system approach here towards body recomp and health, because again, we're looking at your training, making sure your training's in line with your goal, making sure it's sending the right stimulus to your body. And then 3, making sure that what we're doing is also paired up with your nutrition, your lifestyle, and everything like that, right? Because we can't just hammer more training just because. So it has to be strategic training and it has to be geared towards you and where you're currently at. Again, nutrition, same thing. We're looking at your limiting factors here with your nutrition. Is it, hey, maybe you're not, the issue isn't that you're eating too low calorie. It's that, hey, your diet quality is terrible. We need to have better meal timing. We need to eat more protein, and you have a ton of lifestyle stuff that we need to work on. And then from there, it's like, now you're going to be more receptive to body comp change. 3, we're also looking at movement, right? Again, this is a big thing where making sure that you're not just set, like you're training 5 days a week and that's the only time you're active. The rest of the time you're very sedentary. Again, we need to look at your movement and make sure that's in a good spot, because movement in general, if we are strategic with our movement, it's going to increase your energy expenditure. It's going to help with mental and brain health. It's also going to help with digestion and your gut health. So again, we can be super strategic here with our movement. And then 4, we have lifestyle. And this is where we're going to really dive into like your sleep, circadian rhythm. And again, not just you sleeping 6 to 8 hours, but actually diving into that more, making sure that you're setting yourself up for good quality sleep. Again, managing overall stress load on the body, making sure that we don't have all these stressors. We're also trying to throw in a calorie deficit. We're trying to throw in all these things that we're trying to do to change your body. When again, now your body's just overloaded. And again, we're just looking at your environment too, making sure you're set up there. And then lastly, we're looking at your mindset. That's going to be super important in terms of how your body responds as well too. If we have this kind of negative perception towards ourselves, we can't handle failure. We are all or nothing, how we think about ourselves. We don't know our body. Like, these are all going to be things that are going to impact your body's ability to change. So they're all intertwined and they all need to be focused on versus, hey, I need a meal plan to follow. Hey, I need macros. Like, I need to change my macros. It's my macros that I need to change. Hey, I need to go from 3 days of training to 4 days of training. These are things that are just such small differences. And really it comes down to these things that people overlook. They either overlook these things, they don't tie them all together, or they think that they're good and say, because, oh, I don't feel stressed. Hey, I sleep for 7 hours. I'm good. I don't need to focus on that, without diving in deeper and understanding how everything connects there. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how we go about, how I think about this, but then also how I apply it with clients. So again, the big takeaway being like, yes, calories matter, but everything else you're doing is also going to impact the stress load on your body, not just the calories you're having. So again, if someone just blanketly gives you a blanket statement of, oh, hey, you're eating X amount of calories, you're not seeing the change you want, you either need to increase or decrease your calories, I would look into that a bit more before just making that change. Because again, you can see where these are either way, right? Again, going up, say, hey, you're eating 1,200 calories. Oh, you just need to eat more. You're eating too little. Again, we talked about how that can be an issue. But even then, if you're at 1,200, you're not seeing change, and someone just says, hey, you need to decrease your calories, now we're going to exacerbate all these issues as well too, right? So it goes both ways, plus or down. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions on this, if this topic makes sense, if you need any follow-up. If you haven't yet, give me a follow on Instagram, Jeff, HOEHN_. That's where I'm most active on social media. And you can ask me any questions in terms of the podcast, etc. If you haven't yet, make sure you give me a rating or review. Just that way more people find the podcast. It doesn't necessarily have to be a review. I know those can be a pain, but everything helps there to continue to grow the podcast. And then again, I have my free body recomp checklist as well too that you can download. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will chat with you next time.